Hey guys, if you're watching this, you're on my channel, Actively Unwoke, and you probably got here because you saw a video of a mom in Carmel, New York that I dug up from a school board meeting that has gone viral all over the internet. That mom is amazing, standing up and fighting back and really taking it to her kid's school board for teaching critical race theory in schools. And this is what Actively Unwoke is all about. It's all about standing up for what you believe in and pushing back against the existential threat that is taking over our country. So today I want to talk to you about something that's really important. You know, I just launched this YouTube channel. This is actually my second YouTube channel. My first YouTube channel is just my name, Karlyn Borysenko. I will link it in the description below if you want to go subscribe to that one as well. But I want to talk to you today about an extra special case that I think needs everyone's attention, and that is the case of Gabrielle Clark. Listen, last week, we saw conservative influencers raise over $100,000 for a prank. For a prank on AOC to prove that AOC is the ultimate hypocrite yet again. We saw that happen for a literal prank. They knew that no money was going to go to AOC's grandmother. They knew they were going to reject it, and they did it anyway. And listen, I don't begrudge people playing pranks. I don't begrudge people exposing the hypocrisy of the left. I really, really don't. However, I begin to have a problem with it when those same influencers actively work against real efforts to fight back against critical race theory, even though all of them spend their times complaining literally every single day about critical race theory. Every single one of them has shared the video of that mom in Carmel, New York, fighting back at her school board, say, look at this warrior woman. Every single one of them talks about how they don't like these things in schools and organizations, how they talk about Robin DiAngelo and white fragility. They talk about it all the time. But I've been on the ground fighting this for 2 years now, and for a little over a year actively in this community. And I will be the very first person to tell you that they're not doing enough. They're not. So we need to pick up the slack for that. Here's what we're going to do in this video. I kind of enticed you into this little video with the promise of me telling you how Seb Gorka called me, or had me call him, so he could yell at me yesterday. And I will play the video of my telling that story from yesterday. I don't have the phone call recorded, but I do a pretty good reenactment. We're going to play this at the end. But before we get to that video, I want to make sure I tell you about this case from Gabrielle Clark. Gabrielle Clark is one of the bravest women I have ever met in my life. Her son, William, was going to a prep school in Nevada. Now, William is not white. He's not white, but he has very light skin, right? And because he has very light skin, the teachers at his high school tried to force him to say he was an oppressor in order to graduate. This was a requirement for a class to graduate. Now, Gabrielle, because she takes no grief, she said to the school, no, you're not forcing my son to say he's an oppressor. What are you doing? And they denied that, and they told her if he wants to graduate, he is going to say he's an oppressor. Now, the school continued to push back on this. William actually ended up getting suspended. This is all happening during his senior year of high school. Gabrielle took no grief from it, fought back, ended up suing the school. And the case right now is in federal court, but it needs money. It really needs money. Listen, guys, here's what happens when you donate to a lot of these lawsuits. What happens is the organization wants to take the money and they want to use it to settle the case so that they can put the case up on the website and say, look, we settled this case. We got a positive outcome for the plaintiff. And they use it to get grant proposals to be able to continue to fund their organizations. But Gabrielle doesn't want to do that. Gabrielle wants to set a legal precedent against critical race theory in schools. And guess what? A judge thinks that she has a case. This was a statement issued by a judge in federal court on March 2nd regarding this case. It said, plaintiff, and this is a statement from the law firm that was representing her at the time. Plaintiff William Clark and his single mother, Gabrielle Clark, have filed suit in Federal District Court of Nevada against public charter school Democracy Prep et al., claiming defendants violated their constitutional free speech and due process rights on February 26, 2021, during a temporary restraining order hearing. A federal district court judge stated, "I think William is likely to succeed on the merits of his compelled speech claims. He reasoned the speech is likely compelled, and so defendants would need to justify the curriculum under a strict scrutiny test." That's a high bar to meet. And it seems difficult for these exercises, at least on their face, to survive strict scrutiny. During defendants' classes, Williams were asked to publicly reveal his race, gender, religious, and sexual identities, and then attach derogatory labels to those identities. Students were then asked to undo and unlearn their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors that stem from oppression. William objected and was punished with a failing grade. William and Gabrielle's case will proceed to an expedited evidentiary hearing and trial, tentatively scheduled for April. This is a landmark case against critical race theory curriculum. CRT curriculum forces students to categorize and label their racial, religious, and sexual identities with derogatory labels and asks students to affirm beliefs contrary to their personal conscience. So this case has a real shot. This is not a joke. This is a real deal. But in order for it to have the best chance it can at setting the legal precedent that we all need, that requires money. It requires money. We need to help this family out. Listen, no one gets into this fight asking to be in this experience, but when Gabrielle Clark was given a moment where she was able to stand up for her son and say, "No, you are not doing this to my child," she didn't relent. She didn't say to her son, "Oh, just say what the school wants you to say and just hush it up and keep quiet." No, she fought back. This is the very definition of what being actively unwoke means, and now we all need to support her, because I'll tell you what, not a single conservative influencer has. 0 conservative influencers have donated or advertised this cause, with the possible exception of Tucker Carlson, who did have Gabrielle on his show a couple times early on in this case. There's a lot of reasons that this particular fundraiser was not on that particular show, which I will not go into in this video, but I need you guys to trust me. A lot of you know me, some of you don't. Maybe you're being introduced to me for the first time. I'm not steering you wrong on this one. This is a case that needs our support, that could have very real impact on everyone's children. So please, 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 I will put the link in the description below. Please give what you can to support it. $5. $5. We can all support $5. I pay more than $5 for a coffee at Starbucks. We can all support a $5 donation. I have personally donated over $1,000 of my own money to this at this point, and I've actually offered to match conservative influencers like Matt Walsh, like Candace Owens, like Ben Shapiro, like Sebastian Gorka, who are all about this AOC prank. They couldn't wait to give money to this AOC prank, because they all knew it would get refunded right back into their pockets. But are they willing to support something real? No. No. They haven't. So we have to be the ones to step up and do it. So I'm going to put the link in the description below. And without further ado, let's get to that fun video that I promised you, which is the reenactment of the phone call that I had yesterday when I kind of pissed Sebastian Gorka off on Twitter, and he demanded that I call him so he could read me the riot act. All right, let's go. You guys are not going to believe what just happened. This is one of those things that, like, I genuinely wish I had the foresight to record it, but I just didn't, because I did not expect to get yelled at by Sebastian Gorka today. I really didn't. I've never even talked to the man. I did not expect to get yelled at by Sebastian Gorka today over something stupid. So here's what happened. So earlier today, Sebastian Gorka retweeted me out to his 1 million followers, basically saying that I had a horrible take about the Daily Wire guys caring more about pranking AOC than they do in actually solving real problems. And you guys know I've been doing this the last 2 days on Twitter. I've been promoting Gabrielle Clark's fundraiser because that case desperately needs money. And I've been, frankly, contrasting it with the nonsense prank that the Daily Wire guys pulled on AOC, proving for the 8,000th time AOC's hypocrisy. None of us knew that AOC was a liar and a hypocrite before. We had to have this pointed out for the 8,000th time, raising $100,000 for a nonsense cause that they knew she wasn't going to accept anyway. So I've taken umbrage with this when there are actual real causes that they could be helping. They can still do their pranks too. I don't care if they do their pranks. I just don't want them to let real causes die for the sake of them proving AOC is a hypocrite for the 8,000th time. So he retweeted me today to his 1 million followers, says, this is a bad take, and blah, 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 blah. And so, of course, I responded saying, hey, Sebastian, how about you donate to this lawsuit if you actually care about this? And of course, what I've been saying with the Daily Wire guys and with him is that if they donate to this lawsuit and tweet about it to their followers for what is actually like a really good cause, then I will match their $4.99 donation. They all just got their $4.99 refunds. I will match their $4.99 donation. And I tweeted that the caveat, of course, is once you donate, Sebastian Gorka, you have to tweet about the lawsuit to your audience and encourage them to support this effort. I'll keep checking to see when your name shows up on the donor list. Otherwise, we'll just assume you care more about AOC. Well, Sebastian Gorka didn't like that. And he DM'd me his phone number and said, do you have a minute? Giving no contact. So I was like laying in bed when I got this DM. I was trying to take a nap. And I was like, God damn it, I have to talk to Sebastian Gorka now, whatever. But I called him. I like tried to calm myself down because I'm still pretty lit about this entire goddamn affair. Not just with him, but with the whole thing. Tried to calm myself down. I was like, maybe Sebastian Gorka, being British, wants to actually have a reasonable conversation. No, he did not. He wanted to yell at me. That's what he wanted. I just got yelled at by Sebastian Gorka, who, by the way, completely misinterpreted what I wrote, because he said, the first instance, yeah, do you think I care? Do you think I'm on the side of AOC? I'm sure I'm doing a horrible impersonation of his accent. Do you think I'm on the side of AOC? I said, no, not in any way. Well, then why did you tweet that I was on the side of AOC? And I said, that's not actually what I tweeted at all. He said, so you're saying that you didn't read your own tweet? And I was like, I didn't have the tweet right in front of me because there were like 4 or 5 different tweets that I mentioned him in at this point. But I do have it in front of me now. And what I said was, otherwise, we'll just assume you care more about AOC. Now, that in no way, shape, or form says he's on AOC's side. What it says is that he cares more about pranking AOC than he does in fighting actual fights and solving actual problems, which of course is the entire point. The entire point of my issue with the Daily Wire AOC prank is that there are real people that are fighting real battles that need real support that none of these influencers will support. And the fact, honestly, that Sebastian Gorka couldn't even take the time to read a tweet before he DM'd a random person that he has never spoken to in his life to call him so he can yell at them. I'm sorry, Seb, Dr. G. You just proved my point. You proved my point in the best possible way. He also told me, you need to grow up, young lady. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take advice. I am not... Seb, you know who I'm not going to take advice from? Someone who DMs a random person on Twitter and asks them to call them so that you can yell at them. That's who I'm not going to take advice from about growing up, my friend. So, I wish I recorded this so bad. Things I did not expect to happen today. Being yelled at by Sebastian Gorka. Will life get any weirder than this? There is always tomorrow.